the tape for this, our main event of the evening. We introduce the champion, Chris, the West Side Strangler Brennan. Let's get it on!
What's up, guys? We're here to go over the recap of UFC 304 in Manchester, England. Man, a lot of exciting fights, a lot of decisions. I know Dana was mad about decisions. I don't know if you heard before the fight, someone else shouted out in the crowd like they did at UFC 300 for large bonuses.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were 100 grand or 200 grand, and he said okay. And they might have been 100 because Patty ended up getting $200,000 bonus.
Yeah.
But while Dana was talking about it, he said he's the only one, that came out to get it done. And there was 6 or 7 decisions, and he said, no one was trying to finish. And he said he's never doing it. He'll never do that again.
I'd be curious to go back and see what the finish rate was in this one versus other fights.
Right.
To see if, to his point, did it incentivize fighters to throw?
He said it definitely didn't, so he said he'll never do that again. He said at some point the bonuses might be bigger, but he's not going to do anything crazy like that on a night when one of the fighters shouts it out from the crowd of the
$200 large. That's it. That's a significant bonus, man.
Well, that and he got a new contract. We'll get to that when we get to his fight, but yeah, it's good stuff.
Let's jump in. Let's start off with the not so good news. Meatball Molly wasn't able to finish against Bruna Brazil. She lost. It was unanimous 230-27 and a 29-28.
Yeah. So Molly, she took a knee early, broke her ribs, at least a rib, and from that point on, she was not feeling 100%. You see her get kneed a couple other times after that, and she would buckle over. I thought it was going to get stopped at one time. Looked like she dropped and was going to stay down and came right back up, but her body was obviously compromised and wasn't able to put together. She did come back in the, I forget what round they had her winning, second or third, but through her spinning elbow, she was landing. She came wild finally, which was like, all right, I got to do something. And she landed a lot of good strikes at that point in time, but it was a little late. She'd been hurting from the knee early on. Big bummer.
Seems like I think I saw something that she's taking a little bit of time off. And I know part of that's going to be just to heal.
For sure,
those ribs. What's a rib break? How long before she's even on the mat working?
It depends. Like ribs, like I told you before this, ribs ended my career.
Yeah.
And mine happened from Marcelo Garcia trying to armbar me, and I twisted my arm and got my arm out, but destroyed my ribs. And I fought a couple times after that, and it was painful always. Like to this day, it's not painful anymore, but my ribs are like a rock on the side of my.
You got like
body,
a weird knuckle there that you can take.
I can use it in side control and kill people, but it hurt me for a long time, and I didn't do anything for almost a year after that. So hopefully hers is able to heal up and get better.
What do you think of her opponent? What's next for her? Do you think you see?
I don't know.
Is she on the way up, or do you think?
she's 2-2. Like she was a girl that I believe Molly was gonna.
Run over.
Yeah, kind of run her over, have her way with her, and get the win. And it got stopped early, and she looked good that night. Bruna Brazil. Yeah,
yep.
She looked great that night, but I think she looked great because she had Molly compromised, and she was able to capitalize on that. Otherwise, I think Molly, yes, of course I'm biased, but I just feel like she was the better, or going to be the better fighter that night.
We've talked a little bit about lucky punches or lucky strikes. You catch somebody at the right time at the right place, and you kind of, if I remember right, you kind of downplayed that. That look, if you land that, you landed it.
Right.
How do you feel about that situation?
It's definitely not lucky. I always go back to Lucas and Weber. Was Lucas lucky he landed that knee? No, he threw it a million times leading up to the fight. Was he lucky he knocked him out with it? Maybe. Maybe it was lucky that it caught him right there and turned his lights off, because any other time he may land it and the guy eats it.
Sure.
You see guys eat knees and head kicks all the time, and for Luke it worked out because it was the end of a fight that we were behind on, and he got it done. So it's just a matter of you see guys skip shins off the top of the head like Leon did to Kamaru Usman.
Yep.
But, and they're still there. Other guys, they fall and it's like, well, cool. So I don't think it's lucky. They train those strikes all the time,
And there's nothing you can do to toughen up your ribs. Like, that's not a thing.
No.
So you get it.
Yeah.
Arnold Allen and Giga Chikadze. It's a fun fight.
I told you, Giga's got really good striking.
Yeah.
And for the first round, I think he won the first round. And
Yes.
he was busy, and his footwork was awesome. Like, he has very good footwork.
Yeah.
And Arnold was finding it difficult to figure out the range and get through. And then second round, he figured it out, and then he started throwing like baseballs to the body. He was throwing hard shots to the body, straight shots, and then started cutting him off. He was cutting him off all the time, but Giga was not. He did not stop moving. He was circling, and then once in a while,
Arnold
Allen would cut him off. He'd get him over where he couldn't go, and he'd cut him off and land. He was landing the harder strikes, I think.
Yeah.
Giga was landing a lot of strikes early on.
Yeah.
But Arnold Allen was there.
I felt like as round 3 went and as the fight continued to go deeper, Arnold was controlling the cage more. He was owning the center. He was backing down Giga. I feel like that, and I don't know if that counts well with the judges or not, but it just felt like he was in control of the octagon.
Oh, yeah. He had him running backwards around the cage with his back to it the whole time.
Yeah.
And after round 1, maybe a little bit into round 2, Giga's pace dropped.
Yeah.
Like, he was moving, and all of a sudden he was standing a lot more still. He'd still be circling, but his footwork wasn't the same. And Arnold Allen's confidence went up. And I think once he realized Giga's a former world champion kickboxer. So I think once Arnold Allen realized that he could take his shots, then it was like, okay, game on, and now I'm gonna go after you.
Arnold seemed Giga was busy, but Arnold seemed lighter on his feet.
Yeah.
He was bouncing, he was hopping in and out, like he seemed like he was lighter on his feet, and it felt like he kept that pace up more fluidly throughout the entire fight.
Who did I pick on this fight?
You picked Giga.
I did?
Yeah, I picked Giga. Got it in
so
there.
I think I missed 3 then.
You did.
Not 2. Yeah. That's why I don't bet.
Right. Do you think, I mean, this was number 6 versus number 10. I know Giga gets a loss to him, but I feel like he showed up appropriately against a number 6 fighter. Do you think it drops him a lot?
He's not going to move back from 10, I don't think at all. Could even move him up depending on who else fights coming up and whatnot, who's between 6 and 10. But I think he'll maintain his spot for sure.
Cool. So we got this one wrong. It was Paddy Pimblett versus King Green.
Yeah.
Not Bobby.
I thought you meant I got the prediction wrong.
No, you got this prediction right, but it turns out that he legally changed his name.
Yeah. Anyway. Did he?
That's what I understand. I mean, he came out as King Green.
He did.
That's what he's listed on here on the UFC. Talk about Paddy, what he did.
Man, he fought a very tough guy who's been in the rankings for years and kind of made it look easy. His striking was very clean. It looked good. The only thing Bobby was landing was that John Jones stomp to the knee kick. That I hate that thing. And why they call it an oblique kick, I have no idea because your obliques are right here.
I've always wondered that.
Anyway, he looked great. He was landing. So everyone's like, oh, he shot. Why would he shoot? I don't know if a lot of people noticed. That was the second time he shot. He had thought about shooting and kind of did before that and then took a shot. Paddy was eating up his calf with that calf kick, and I think his leg was compromised and he had to shoot. Mm-hmm. Regardless, as soon as he did, I was like, oh, it's over. Even if that guillotine wasn't done, which I guess it wasn't, even if the triangle wasn't done, if that's where Bobby planned on winning the fight, that fight was over. He wasn't going to beat Paddy on the ground, and I don't know if he got forced into that with the leg kicks, or if he was just doing a takedown to try and get points and get back up. But you take someone down like that, and now you're attached to him.
Bobby was winning the significant strike battle 15-8. He was almost up 2-1 on Patty.
I feel like the only thing he landed was that kick. I don't think he landed punches. 2, 1.
I don't know if they can strikes by target. Let me open this up. Okay, 10 leg kicks, 2 head, 3 to the body. Those are his 15 significant leg strikes.
And what had Patty landed?
Patty only 2 to the head, 0 to the body, and 6 to the legs.
Yeah.
So
those 6 calf kicks were enough to change the direction of the fight. And we've said it before. I've seen 3 or 4 change the direction of a fight. 3 or 4 hard calf kicks from Chris Gutierrez, Jonathan Martinez, like those guys who are phenomenal at kicking the calf. They've finished fights from there.
What's that nerve again?
Peroneal nerve.
Peroneal nerve. Yeah.
And I think that's probably why Bobby shot. I'm hoping that's why. I'm hoping that wasn't their game plan coming in. They had to have a better game plan than that. So I'm thinking that he shot because his leg was starting to get compromised.
Did Bobby wake up to a dislocated elbow that he didn't know he had?
That's something. So, yes, I've actually done that when being attacked in a street fight before.
Okay.
And put someone to sleep and then that's your arm. Yeah. And as he was doing it, I was like, oh my God, stop it. Because he broke, dislocated, whatever. Afterwards, you see him raising his hand and hugging Patty with this one arm laying next to him. He just hung it there.
Yep.
And, his arm, I don't know that it's broken, but it's definitely.
He's got issues there.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was watching it took him a little bit to go out.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know that it took him a little bit to go out. It took a little bit for anyone to notice he was out. And I think that's why Patty switched to the armbar.
Okay.
And when he was already out before the armbar.
What is it? You say grab the ankle on a triangle?
Yeah, he did not do that.
I kept yelling at the TV. I'm like, grab your ankle.
He didn't do it. His foot was flexed though.
Yeah.
Which keeps this lined up very tight on the neck, and Bobby had fallen over to the side where it would have been difficult to reach had he already had it. Then he could, but once he fell over to the side that way, it would have been difficult for him to reach to get a hold of it. It was tight. He had his foot flexed. It was clamped down. He knew it. Bobby thought he was going to stand up and shimmy out the back. It didn't happen, and that's what sat him kind of to his butt.
Yeah.
And then the armbar came, and once that happened, I was like, oh, man.
It's over.
Yeah.
3 minutes, 22 seconds, round 1. Patty comes out of that ranked now, I believe. Is that correct?
He'll definitely be ranked. Bobby was 15, and he'll be ranked. He's got a new contract. He got a $200,000 bonus that night. He walked out of there with a very nice payday and deserved every bit of it. 6-0 now in the UFC, doing it the right way. He's talked the talk and walked the walk, and gradually every opponent's been tougher and tougher, and I think that's the way you should do it.
Tony Ferguson, Jared Gordon, Jordan Levitt, Rodrigo Vargas, and Luigi, I don't know, Vendramini.
Yeah.
Vendramini. Those are his wins.
What
in the UFC.
What were those 3 guys? The first 3 records.
16-3, 17-3, 18-3. Oh, I'm sorry. That's his. 9-2, 12-4, 10-1. Jared Gordon's 19-5. Tony Ferguson.
Don't look at Tony's. Tony ruins everyone's record now that he's been on a 8 or 9 fight losing streak.
25-9.
Still a good record.
Yeah, it's not the Tony Ferguson that got those 25 wins. Though.
No, but it's still.
It's a dangerous man still.
For sure.
And then Bobby Green comes in at 32-15-1.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So he's not fought anyone that's a pushover, right? Everyone's had a great record, and like I said, he's done it right. He deserves everything he gets now, and he's calling out Renato Moicano.
Okay.
I think that's who he called out after his fight. That's a good fight. That's a tough fight as well, but that'll put him even higher into the rankings.
Yeah. Yeah. And well deserved, because he's, like you said, he's doing everything the right way.
For sure. He's got a good manager. Graham Boylan's the guy that manages him.
Yeah.
He's from over there. He is the owner, or I think he is the owner of Cage Warriors.
Okay.
And he manages a lot of people over there. He's a good dude.
Tom Aspinall, Curtis Blades.
Real quick, let me go back. Super proud of Paul Rimmer.
Yes.
Paul is Patty's coach. Paul's been with me for 20 plus years, and it's that alone was 14 years in the making for him, with Patty, and he's had him since he was a kid, and he deserves the happiness that he has right now. He deserves the bonus. He deserves all of that because he's put in so much work to that gym over there, and he's had guys just like me burn him and go this way and go that way, and the last man standing, Paul's the only guy over there that was involved in his gym from the beginning, and any of the other guys have gone on to do nothing, and Paul's still, king of the hill over there and has these guys in the UFC and has a whole lineup of guys that are about to be in the UFC after that.
That's legit. That's legit. Good call out. Tom Aspinall, Curtis Blades. This lasted a grand total of 1 minute. Tom Aspinall, man. What do you say?
Who can say now that he's not ready to fight John Jones?
Okay, let's put this to bed right now. Early stoppage, yes or no?
Did Curtis Blades complain?
I don't know that he did, but when you look at it afterwards,
he was trying to come up.
Very little damage.
Yeah.
I mean,
the problem was he flattened out twice.
He
flattened out, went to get up again, flattened out again.
Yep.
And then kind of his hip stayed down and his head came up, and they stopped it. Could it have gone longer? Maybe. Would he have just gotten hurt more right there? Probably.
He complained in the moment. I haven't looked to see if he's complained afterwards. In the moment, he was frustrated.
I read his like Instagram comment or X comment.
Yeah.
And it was
okay.
He was a better man that night. I think Tom Aspinall hits hard.
Well, and I also, for those who may say that it was an early stoppage, there was nowhere for Curtis to go.
No.
He was mounted. He was taking shots. And I don't see a way out of that for him. And
especially with a guy that has that sort of grappling as well.
Yeah.
He can either beat him up from there or choke him. He had either option at that point, and he was most likely just going to beat him up from there.
I know you got to be careful because you can't, this isn't the Minority Report. You got to call it for what it is, not what it would be.
Right,
but
of course.
When I look at where he was at, I don't see he was covering up. He got up once, like you said, flattened out again. And at that point, he just turtled, and he wasn't really making an effort to move. And I don't know that there's anywhere for him to go.
Yeah,
so I don't know that he took a lot of damage, but I just think he was done.
I didn't complain about that stoppage at all. I don't think he did. I think he kind of sat up and did this and was just like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And he might have been okay, but I think he just got, again, you don't want to speculate, but I think he got saved from it just being worse, worse beating in the same spot.
You and I messaged earlier that we were kind of a fan of Curtis Blades. I didn't know this. Many of the listeners may not know this. He's got a pretty significant speech impediment.
Oh, yeah.
And his dad has it, and his daughter has it as well.
I didn't know that.
He actually went on. I watched a pre-fight interview last week, and he was like, everybody asked, first off, my speech impediment is not from CTE, so let's just put that out right now.
No, it's something he's had.
It's something he's had, and it's genetic,
right.
Which is why his dad and his daughter has it, and he's a big advocate for people with that. Right. And when you start hearing that, it's like, dang, I love Aspinall. I'm a big fan of his, but it's hard not to also want Blades to do well.
Oh yeah, I've wanted him to win. I think the majority of his fights, you know, he's if you listen to him talk, he's a good dude. And he's likable, very likable.
Very likable. But Tom Aspinall, man.
Yeah, I think for John Jones to say he doesn't deserve a title shot, John is trying to fight a guy who was the greatest heavyweight of all time.
Yeah.
Who hasn't fought since he fought DC in March of 2021. Okay. And he's 41 years old.
Yeah. And he's a firefighter now.
Right. So he wants to do that to say that he beat the greatest heavyweight of all time, but that's not the fight to make right now. That's not the guy who won the interim title, defended the interim title.
Yeah.
That's the guy. He's in line to fight you.
Yeah. I feel like John Jones with that reach is a little bit like Adesanya and Anderson Silva when they fought.
Right.
Yes, it was Anderson Silva, but it wasn't that Anderson Silva.
Right. I mean, there were a couple guys that beat Anderson Silva at the end of his career that would have never beat Anderson Silva, early on. So I think he deserves a shot. I hope he gets it. He then came out and said, let's do a 4-man tournament, John Jones and Stipe, me and Alex Pereira, and we'll do it all in one night. I'll fight 2 of those guys in one night.
So that's like UFC 1 style, right?
Yeah, but this guy's got like 3 minutes of fight time in his last 3 fights. 3.5 minutes of fight time in his last 3 fights or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, I did not know that statistic. Let's look right here. 1 minute, 109, and 113. So you're talking 3 minutes and 24 seconds worth of ring time in his cage time.
3 fights against
who? 3 fights. Marcin Tybura, Sergey Pavlovich, Curtis Blades.
And Sergey knocks out everybody. And he came out and knocked him out.
That's an amazing statistic.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's one thing to come out and get a knockout, an early one,
get
an early guillotine, get an early sub, get an early something, but to do it 3 times in a row against top quality, fighters, give him a shot. And if not, give up the belt and let him be the champ.
Yeah. The only fight I'd want to see more than Aspinall and John Jones, I'd love to see Alex Pereira and John Jones. I think that's a really interesting fight.
I think John Jones beats him easy.
Really?
Yeah, I just think he takes him down and beats him up on the ground, subs him. Only because look what he did to Cyril Gahn. Okay. That's exactly what he would do. Alex is amazing striker. Takedown defense, Izzy took him down, a couple times.
Okay.
John Jones is for sure taking him down
for sure
and gonna submit him. I think he beats him fairly easy, and I don't like that just because everyone's so high on Alex, that solidifies John as even better. But it's just a stylistic matchup that's a nightmare for Alex. Now, beating
Aspinall
is a whole different story. That guy's a problem if you take him down, and he's a problem if you keep him on his feet, and he might take you down.
Is there anybody that has faster hands in the heavyweight division than Tom Aspinall, do you think? Guy seems like he's lightning fast.
Yeah, I don't think so. He's that hybrid guy. He's that, I don't know if you follow wrestling or whoever follows wrestling. Kyle Snyder was a Olympic gold medalist in high school. While he was still in college. And he was like 225, 230. And heavyweight goes up to 285. He was
in college wrestling.
Yes.
Okay.
He was fast. He was agile. He was a hybrid type of style, and I think that's what Aspinall is. He's like a hybrid heavyweight. He's big. He's giant. He's 6'5", 250 something.
Yep.
But he moves like he is a 85er. He moves very well. He's very fast, and I just think stylistically that is a nightmare for John Jones. And all the John Jones fans will, say John would run him over, and maybe he will, but I don't see it.
Leon Edwards, Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah.
That was a unanimous decision. I think it ended up being 49-46. I think was.
Yeah.
I think that Leon only ended up winning one round, and I think it was the third.
Yeah, when he was on.
Yes, when he was on his back.
Yeah.
For most of it. Did Leon? What did you see? Tell me what you saw here.
So, I saw a perfect game plan by Bilal. Not a fan of Bilal. A super fan of the fight. Most people, that's a boring fight for. Cool. Stop it. Stop it from happening if it's boring. And if you can't stop it from happening, don't bitch about it. And he came right out, threw something, shot, took him down. Let him start to get up, took him down. Let him start to get up, took him down. Stayed on him over and over again. Then they got back to the feet, and what was he able to do? Pick him apart on the feet. He's able to beat him up on the feet, land his jab on him. Why? Because now Leon is so worried about the takedown.
Sure.
This goes back to what we talked about Conor and Khabib, you know. Put Conor and Khabib in a kickboxing match, Conor murders him, you know.
Sure.
But put him in an MMA fight where Khabib takes him down a couple times and then back on the feet. Well, now your hands are down trying to defend the takedown and you're getting beat up on the feet. So that's what happened. He wrestled him enough early on to where he was able to beat him up on the feet in his spot, because you get so complacent and worried and hesitant about a guy's takedown because you don't want to lose the round. And a takedown with someone like that, you're going to lose the round. You're not just going to lose the takedown because he's going to stay on you the rest of the time. So you have to disengage. And what he was doing is he would get up and stay engaged and try to put Bilal on the fence. And it's not a bad idea, just because if you separate, he's going to take you down when you start throwing punches.
Sure.
But at some point, you just got to throw all that out the window and start throwing. And if you're going to get taken down anyway, you've got to. So if a guy's shooting on you, you got to start showing knees. You got to start showing uppercuts. Something's got to be coming from below, and everything he was throwing was your traditional, regular stuff, and that's what he keeps taking you down with. So Fight IQ, let's change the game plan mid-fight. We got to change up. We're losing, by round 2. You only have 3 rounds left. You have to win all 3 of them now. And then by round 3, you're now down. You're looking for a finish. And by round 4, you got to finish. And his coach was losing his mind like he did the Kamaru Usman fight. But it wasn't. It wasn't happening because Bilal was not letting it happen. He was going to strike with Leon enough to get Leon thinking, oh, finally we're striking. And then he'd strike and then he'd get taken down.
9 of 13 on the takedowns for Bilal. Took him down 9 times.
Yeah.
And I think you talked a little bit about, that might make for a boring fight, but when you take somebody down 9 times in 5 rounds, like you're kind of dominating.
And he controlled all of it. So take away, add those 9 in, but only 4 rounds, right? Because Leon was on top in one of the rounds, 3 or 4. 3, I think.
I think it was 3.
So now you're trying to jam 9 into 4 rounds.
Yeah.
So it's 2-2, 3-3. It's like a lot of 2-2 or 2-1, 3-3, whatever.
Yep.
And he might have even got one in the round that he got his back taken in, but I think he got reversed. And either way, it's why if you Google, everyone go Google UFC champions by style, and there is this and this and this for strikers, and there's this for jiu-jitsu, and there's this for wrestling. And the top one is wrestling by double, by more than double. It's the amount of finishes in the UFC by rear naked choke, is crazy. And it is, unless there are stand-ups, it is a sport that the wrestlers have dominated. The jiu-jitsu guys first, then wrestlers, because of the control, and they learned how to stop getting submitted by the jiu-jitsu guys. And it is a dominant sport. It is a dominant sport. If we're on the feet, this is where you're good.
Yep.
As soon as I go like this, we're in my world now.
Yep.
So I've got to close 3-4 feet of distance, and then it's my world. Out here, you have a chance, and every round starts on the feet.
Yep.
And sometimes you'll get lucky, and the refs will stand you up and give the guy on bottom who doesn't have the skills to get up on his own a chance to get up.
We saw that Saturday night.
Who did they stand up?
I don't think it was the fight that we didn't call, if I remember right. I think it was Duncan and Rodriguez, and I think they stood him up in like round 2.
Oh, yeah. You're right. So, I don't like the stand-ups. I never have. I don't like the stand-ups. I just feel like it is if you can't get up and you don't have the skills to get up, but the referee can step in and help you out because you're losing, does that mean if I have a couple failed takedowns and I can't take you down, can I ask the referee to put us on the ground because I'm not good enough to get you to the ground? It's the same thing.
Sure.
And so it's very frustrating. I understand Dana and everyone wants the exciting fights, but it's not real. It's not realistic. Realistic is you let them fight. Yeah. So
Dana wants Robbie and Rory
every fight. Yeah, bro. Exciting news. Mohammed Makayev.
Okay.
The guy that Tim was dealing with the hands down knees.
Yeah.
He got cut. They let him fight his contract out.
Okay.
This was his last fight on his contract.
Yeah.
And they didn't renew him. And Dana said PFL is going to get a undefeated fighter. Good for them. And just said that the matchmakers did not want to deal with any of his BS, that he's hard to deal with. And him and Manel, I guess he asked Manel to take a picture or something.
Okay.
And then he ended up punching Manel in the face like 2 days before the fight.
What?
And a big scuffle happened. I saw part of the scuffle online. I didn't see the punch, but I guess he punched him in the face. And he just had all sorts of drama. Then at weigh-ins, he ran after him again and tried again. So there's over him, and they cut a dude that's 13-0, ranked 6th in the UFC. Wild.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That is wild. Anything else?
Nope. Not that I know of. I have a huge seminar tour coming up. Super excited.
Cool.
I'm going to my affiliate in Denver, and then Cody, Wyoming, and then Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Bellingham, Washington, Salem, Oregon, and then 4 stops in California.
West Coast?
Yeah, I went left this time. I'm not gonna lie, I did get turned down by 2 gyms in Seattle. They told my buddy we hate his politics, so they didn't have me.
What politics?
I don't know.
What are they talking about?
But like, my jiu-jitsu is still good, right? So you could still learn from me, even though you don't like who I'm voting for. Like, it is what it is. But oh well.
It's awesome.
There they are.
That's all right. Okay.
See you guys next time. Thank you.
It is all over, just like